Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Live with NORML. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director at the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. It's Friday, October 25th, 2024. You know what that means, friends. It's time for me to answer all of your burning questions live. We're going to talk about this week's cannabis science and policy news. And I want to know where you are. Take a quick second and drop a note in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. And don't forget to ask me those burning questions. Hey, Nick, you were first today. I saw your comment before I even started the show. Samuel, hello. I see your comment. I didn't know that. All right, that sounds sad. Nick, you're in Pennsylvania. Well, your comment disappeared, but I saw it before it started. Hey, gamer in Georgia. Samuel, of course, in North Carolina. Hey, Marco in Arizona. Hey, Kay, on Instagram, I see you. I don't know where you are, but hey, dude, right back at you. Hey, Nola on Instagram asking what's up with Texas. Whoa. You know, Texas is experiencing what we would call the consequences of elections. If you elect people who are terrible on cannabis policy, you will in fact get terrible cannabis policies. Now, listen, that's not to say that there's not plenty at stake in Texas this election, and these things are achievable. So there are 3 local measures in Texas that voters will see on their ballots if they're in these cities. Bastrop, Lockhart, and Dallas have depenalization measures on the ballot. So awesome work to Ground Game Texas for getting those on the ballot. Make sure if you're in one of those cities, you are, wherever you are, make sure you're going to vote. But in particular, make sure you are aware, if you are in those cities, that that is on your ballot and that you know to vote for them. Hey, Nestovaldi in Georgia, I see you. Hello, Pittsburgh. Okay, are you in? I can't really, it's too tiny for me to see what that is. Hey, Photo Genie. Good afternoon to you as well. In Richmond, me too. Right here, Scott's Edition. Hey, Ben, thanks for watching. Samuel, let me know how Cherokee goes if you head over that way. And wherever you're watching, take a quick second to hit that like, follow, or subscribe button so you never miss when NORML goes live. We try to do this every Friday. Is it Marco? Is it Norway? I can't see that. It's too tiny on my screen. All right, friends. Hey, if you got questions, drop them in the comments. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you about some stuff that happened this week. Let's get into it. Let's talk about, we'll do the, hello, Pot Brothers. I see you. Let's talk about the state-specific things first. Listen, in Arkansas, there was, of course, a legal challenge to whether or not they could put this medical cannabis expansion question on the ballot. And it's on the ballot. The ballots are printed. Early voting's underway in Arkansas. However, the Supreme Court in Arkansas ruled against the initiative. So while voters will see this question, and while voters in Arkansas will cast their ballots having answered this question, those votes will not be counted. Johnny, I see your question. Johnny number, it took a second for me to get there. Johnny number 5. Okay, you're asking, do we work with any veterans organizations to make the VA recognize cannabis as a treatment for PTSD? We don't work specifically with any organizations on that, but we do work on that legislation. In fact, we have action alerts in the NORML Take Action Center. I have to go there myself to see how many. I think it's at least 2 that we have up right now. Yes, we have 2 action alerts in the NORML Take Action Center. Johnny, you can get there by going to norml.org/act. There are 2 alerts. One is support medical cannabis research and access for veterans. And then the other one is the Veterans Equal Access Act. Yeah, so definitely contact your senators in support of the VA Medicinal Cannabis Research Act, and contact your House members in support of the Veterans Equal Access Act. You can find those action alerts right there at norml.org/act, right up in the top section. I can't share the links on Instagram, so I mean I could, but it wouldn't do anything. So just go right over there. And you're welcome. Thank you, Ben. Like that. Samuel, I'm glad to hear that your friends in North Carolina had a good experience with that. Hey, Ellie, happy weekend to you as well. Wait, I'm just going to pop that right up there so that Johnny number 5 can see it. I hope you're still watching because it was very entertaining to me. Wait, I know, right? Wouldn't that be interesting to see what the vote tally is on this expansion measure? It would be really interesting. Like, there's already medical cannabis in Arkansas. This is an expansion measure. And I believe that the Arkansas Supreme Court whined, we'll just call it that, about, it was specifically the proposition's title and how the proposition's title only referenced expanding the state's medical cannabis program, but they felt that the provisions of the bill also addressed matters specific to broader legalization. The justices opined that the language to use is deceptive and misleading and renders the proposal insufficient. This is definitely disappointing, super disappointing for voters in Arkansas. And I'll tell you what Paul has to say about this. Whether or not one personally supports or opposes cannabis legalization, these cynical and undemocratic tactics ought to be cause for deep concern. Paul wrote this in a recent op-ed, going on to add that in a healthy and functioning democracy, elected officials represent the views of the electorate. They should not consistently seek to undermine them. So, this is not the first time we've seen tactics like this by prohibitionists. It probably won't be the last. Yeah. Hello, doctor. Thanks for joining. All right, that's Arkansas. But better news out of Delaware. Delaware's governor this week signed legislation that will provide state-level protections to those businesses providing financial services to state-licensed cannabis entities in Delaware. Specifically, the law stipulates that banks and other financial institutions, quote, are not subject to prosecution for providing lawful services to licensed businesses engaged in the production, distribution, and sale of cannabis, end quote. Good job, Delaware. Hey, Ryan, happy Friday to you. Zeke, I see you. All right, so there's some state information, and let's wrap that up. Let's not wrap it up. Let's put a big fat icky bow on it. A few weeks ago, we talked about the FBI data that comes out every year. States are supposed to report their crime data to the FBI, and then it's broken out by offense type, and then we can see what that means. Not all states do this. Florida being a stunning example of failing to provide accurate data to the FBI, particularly when it comes to marijuana arrests. However, from the data that the FBI is able to provide, states provide to the FBI, and then the FBI provides to the public, we are able to see that marijuana arrests comprised over 40% of all drug arrests in more than a dozen states in 2023. These marijuana-related prosecutions remain the primary driver of drug war enforcement in states where cannabis is still criminalized. Paul writes, it's shameful that hundreds of thousands of Americans continue to be arrested annually in these jurisdictions for cannabis-related violations that the majority of voters no longer believe should be a crime. Think about that when you head to cast your vote, either on election day or early, if you have that option. Turpy on Instagram says it's disgusting, really, and we would wholeheartedly agree with that. It's really sad, but look, it's not a show if we don't show the sign. Elections have consequences. Don't elect people who are terrible on cannabis policy, or you will get terrible cannabis policies, like continuing to arrest some people in your state for something that the majority of your residents believe should be legal. Agreed. Is it another way to divide us? I think Americans are pretty unified on this one in particular. The majority of voters support legalization. It'd be nice if the people we elected remember that when they got in their seats and get to push the buttons on, legislative action. Anyhow, let's get into some. Oh, that did go. Okay, good. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at some good news. Good news. Not surprising news. Not surprising news because I think we talk about this pretty much every week, if not every other. There's another study that indicates that far fewer high school students are consuming cannabis compared to a decade ago. It's almost like when you take marijuana off the street corner and put it behind an age-verified counter, you can, in fact, regulate it for public and consumer safety. What? This is a really great piece. Read this, share it with all of your lawmakers. And it's important to remember that, while this study looks at, 2011 to 2021 data, separate data that was compiled by the U.S. Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration similarly reported significant drops in the use of marijuana by teenagers over the past decade. So this is not a standalone study. This is in agreement with what a federal agency has reported. Yes, Ryan, it is roughly between 60 and 70%, depending on the poll, of all Americans that want to end cannabis prohibition. And when you look at it specifically from a medical application, the number gets even higher. Tim, we don't have any dispensaries. Are there dispensaries in Arkansas? Yes, there are medical dispensaries in Arkansas. I don't know what you are looking at, Ben. Or did you hear me say that? Marijuana with an H? Did you hear that right? Yes, some states, I think Missouri is one of them, do spell marijuana with an H still. Whatever. Thank you, Turpy, for agreeing with me about for checking me on that Arkansas one. I was like, wait, I'm not in Arkansas. We just talked about that. Yes. Tell me more, Ben, about with an H. What made you bring that up? Hello, hot sugar. I just like saying your name. Great. So good news, the kids are all right still. Hey, Chirpy, this is a great question. We get this pretty frequently. Chirpy says, I'm sorry, Instagram doesn't let me show the comments, but I can read it to you. Chirpy asks, why do we still say marijuana? Why not normalize the term cannabis? Well, it's okay to use both. It's really okay to use whatever word you want, as long as you're getting your point across to the audience that needs it, right? So in 1970, when NORML was founded, and even still today, but very much so in 1970, marijuana was the word. And it's still the word that people use today and that they recognize. And it comes in really handy, honestly, when you have to say something like medical cannabis and adult use marijuana in the same sentence, if you don't want to say the same thing twice. But listen, there are times when one word may be more appropriate than the other, right? In public policy, seems like the word cannabis might be more appropriate. But that's not necessarily what your state is or isn't using. Right? People are dropping all these words in the chat now. Pot, dope, grass, ganja. It doesn't matter. What matters is the audience that you're speaking to and what word is going to work best for them. Most Americans understand the word marijuana. It's what they recognize. It's what they're used to. And it's fine to use it, but it's also definitely appropriate to use cannabis in more formal situations. You could use it casually, of course, as well, but you know, if you're writing laws or scientific papers, cannabis is probably the right word for you. But like, call it weed if you want. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that we're all working together to end the criminalization of responsible consumers. Yeah, I don't. Yes, there are definitely, someone else over here says the word marijuana is almost derogatory. And yeah, there are a lot of people who don't like the word, feel it has racist connotations. And, you know, they're probably not wrong. You use the word that works for you. How about that? Chris, did you just get your membership package? I love that. Ryan, Ryan, we have multiple words, multiple definitions codified in the state of Virginia. For example, we have cannabis in the Cannabis Control Act, and then we have the word marijuana in there still. And I'm like, can we just get rid of that? And the answer is yes, we can. We just have to write a bill that substitutes the word in there, but we don't have an administration that's real helpful with that right now. You got a Legalize America sticker, Chris. I love that. Tell me, yeah, let us know where it goes. We want to see it out there in the wild. Oh. JJ, on Twitter, I'm just going to call it Twitter forever, okay? I see your question also, Ryan. JJ asks this: why do we permit solvent-based cannabis products on shelves despite health risks when even trace amounts of solvents like butane remain in products like distillates, which are used to make edibles? If similar residual solvents were found in grocery store products, there would be public outcry, perhaps. And JJ, this is why it's so important that consumer safety is central to regulations. Consumer safety has to be first, not business interests. Doesn't mean those two things can't align, but you have to have stringent consumer safety standards in your state for cannabis. We do that in Virginia, and other states do a pretty good job as well, and some states don't do a very good job at it at all. And then, to this point that JJ brings up, all of those unregulated products that you see at the gas station or the health food store, whatever, well, you know where they are, the smoke shop, all that unregulated garbage is exactly that. It's not regulated. So what's in it? Who knows? Buyer beware. Good morning, Chad and Kwai. Good morning. Hilarious. Thanks for joining us, Terpy. Write it to this guy. Someone else just told me that on YouTube. Yeah, we do know the history behind that word. All right. Let's get into some more news before you won't crack me up again or sidetrack me. Three sciencey news is coming up for you right here. Let's talk about fibromyalgia, shall we? I feel like we talk about this one a lot as well. A recent study talks about cannabis providing sustained relief for fibromyalgia patients in areas like pain and anxiety, but also pain, anxiety, and depression. I think those were the big three. But study participants also reported that they significantly reduced their use of prescription opioids during the trial. It's pretty interesting. This is a study that was done in the UK. They have the medical cannabis program there, and study participants used either they were using either flour or oil. And this is 148 patients that they assessed in this study. So that's good. You know, fewer prescription opioids. That's always good. You have an event coming up, Nick? Are you telling me? Are you asking me? Tell me what it is. Right. That was your fibromyalgia story. You're welcome. Here we go. Let's talk about a few things here. Okay, this is a study that looks at prenatal cannabis exposure and whether or not these children go on to exhibit elevated rates of ADHD or disruptive behavior disorder. I'm really confused. Not confused, honestly, but it's just interesting to see there's still being studies done about something that I thought we had all moved on and that we understood that neurodivergence was hereditary. Apparently we haven't in this study. So we're looking to see if weed causes ADHD in early adolescence. Anyhow, investigators affiliated with the University of California at San Francisco and Kaiser Permanente assessed the relationship between in utero cannabis exposure and behavioral outcomes in a cohort of over 141,000 children born between 2011 and 2018. These kids were followed up to a maximum of age 11. And yeah, there was a lack of association between prenatal cannabis exposure and ADHD in this study, which is consistent with previous findings. Similarly, similar studies have been done about in utero prenatal cannabis exposure and autism. Again, these are neurodivergent classifications, and why we think that. Okay, you shared a Facebook link. Where did you share it, Nick? It's not letting me see it. It didn't get. That's what it is. I didn't see the link. It won't give me your link. Oh, a festival in Allentown. Have fun. I've been to Allentown once. I went there one time for work. Not this work, for Disney. Let me know how that goes. Okay, so let's look at this. Lehigh Valley NORML has more. Thank you, Nick. That was what I needed. That was what I needed. Look, if you're in a NORML chapter and you have an event and you want me to promote it, I would love to. Please let me know that it exists, like Nick is doing right here. The best way is to put the event on Facebook and then to add NORML as a host, or to put the word NORML somewhere in the title so that I can find it. Let me know if you have an event. Let's get back on the pain train, as it were. This study looked at cannabis and hand pain. That's right, hand pain. And I imagine what's going to, again, come as a surprise to literally none of you. It turns out that cannabis is as effective as prescription medications for the treatment of hand pain. That's what's reported from this study. This is researchers affiliated with the University of Chicago. They surveyed 122 patients suffering from hand-related pain. And one of my favorite quotes from this study is, "No respondents preferred traditional medications over cannabinoids." Not a lot of surprise there. Hey, thanks to everyone who just joined us on Instagram. Take a second to hit that like, follow, or subscribe button wherever you're watching so you never miss when NORML goes live. We try to do this every Friday. We're doing so well on time here. And one last study to share with you, not study, news, one last news to share with you all from this week. This is a NORML op-ed that went up on the blog this morning, and you may have seen it in newspapers on the internet, because no one gets newspapers anymore. But you may have seen this before. Now you can see it on the NORML blog. This is a really fantastic op-ed by Paul Armentano, the deputy director of NORML. Legalizing marijuana does not jeopardize mental health. Opponents of marijuana legalization often allege that jurisdictions that have legalized adult use marijuana sales experience subsequent rises in incidences of cannabis-induced psychosis and other adverse mental health consequences. But nearly a decade worth of scientific data from Canada and the United States refutes this contention. Please read this op-ed on the NORML website. It's right at the top of the page right now. Let me scroll up and get your question there, Ryan. Ryan, this is Virginia, right? Ryan's asking, is it possible to get the dispensaries here to recommend specific types of cannabis or cannabis products for pain or whatever? Yes, that is possible. My recommendation to you, Ryan, now this isn't to say that the pharmacy technician to whom you're speaking at the dispensary doesn't have this knowledge. They may. However, the pharmacists that every dispensary is required to have on staff and available for you, a patient in Virginia, they are required to have specific cannabis education. So if you want this information, I definitely recommend asking for the pharmacist. You can ask the pharmacy tech that is dispensing. That's right. That's who you're interacting with at the counter as a pharmacy technician. You can ask them, but definitely ask the pharmacist. You can also email most of the pharmacies. I mean, well, they are pharmacies. You can email most of the dispensaries in Virginia. Go to the Virginia NORML website and look at the dispensaries page, and most of them have an email address. If not, email Virginia NORML and we can connect you so that you can just ask someone directly. But they should be able to provide that information to you when you go in. Yeah, Ryan. So Ryan goes on to say, I know they recommend stuff, but have a scientific backup. Like this one is specifically works for this. Yes. That's primarily going to be cannabinoid content and terpene content based as opposed to strain, chemovar, if you will. It's really going to be based on the makeup of what's in the product as opposed to what name is on the tag of the plant that's growing. If that makes sense. Yes, there's someone there that knows. And if you don't, hey, Jack or Michael, if you're watching, Ryan is asking questions, and maybe let me know what your recommendations are. Yeah, it's really going to be based on the cannabinoid content of that specific product. Great one on Instagram. Can you still hear? Can you still hear me? I am going to answer your question, asking about Amendment 3 in Florida. Yes, I can explain it. First, vote yes. Second, tell everyone you know in Florida to vote yes for Amendment 3. Amendment 3, most importantly, will legalize marijuana for adults in Florida. It will end what we're thinking is close to 60,000 arrests annually in the state of Florida. Florida is not very good at reporting its actual numbers, but we did recently see an estimate of 66,000 arrests annually for weed in Florida. Let's do that. Can we do that, Florida? Can we stop arresting people for weed in Florida? That'd be great. It is very narrowly drafted. It doesn't do a lot. It's not a complicated bill. Amendment. It's a constitutional amendment, so it will require 60% support in order to pass. It's not a straight yes or no like we typically do. A majority yes, majority no. Nope. 60% for a constitutional amendment in Florida. It will allow existing medical operators to begin selling to adults 21 and older. This is entirely normal. This is not normal, like standard. This is entirely standard practice. When states expand from medical to adult use, they will turn on sales at existing operators more often than not as soon as they can, because this is what begins to transition more consumers away from the illicit market. This is how a state can better provide for public and consumer safety. Virginia is a stunning example of failure in this particular issue. So don't follow Virginia. New York was like that also, but they've moved on. Not Virginia. I don't know about that. I don't agree with that. Look, I know that people are saying Amendment 3, isn't actually legalization. It's not this, it's not that. Amendment 3 is what it is. It is an amendment that was able to qualify. It is an amendment that has money behind it, right? Someone has to pay for this effort. And this is not a time where we all pout and whine in the corner that it's not perfect, so we're just going to take our ball and go home. 60,000 people have their lives ruined for weed in Florida every year. We could stop doing that, right? And also, the amendment also permits, as if the state legislature needs permission, but it does permit the state legislature to pass a bill that then licenses new businesses, right? So if you're super wound up about not liking that it only turns on sales at existing operators, that's fine. Be upset about that and go work with your legislature to pass a bill that licenses new businesses. But this like tired trope of, oh, it's not perfect for me and my business, or it's not perfect for whatever it is I want to do, so people should still go to jail, is exhausting. Let's not be those people. Let's be better than that. Yes, compromise absolutely does bring us closer to legalization all day, every day. I can attest to that. Absolutely. There is nothing wrong with taking incremental steps. If it gets you where you need to be, that's what you do. That is literally how we have legal cannabis in the United States, because certain states were willing to take these smaller measures initially. California didn't just legalize everything all in one fell swoop. They first started with medical cannabis, and that's how we moved forward. Colorado legalized medical cannabis before it legalized adult use, right? In Virginia, we went from nothing in 2015 to 2016. We had this little affirmative defense, it's a piece of paper for children with epilepsy, for having CBD. And we took one little step every year from 2016 until 2021. We passed adult use. It's fine to take incremental steps as long as you keep moving forward. But it is a fantasy to sit there and say, oh, well, we're just going to do nothing until I get everything I want. No, it's not how public policy making works. Right, Ryan? Yeah, Ryan says government is known for slow walking, but it is moving, and that's exactly what it is. You have to. Yeah, it's right. You don't need to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. If this is not Burger King, we aren't getting it our way. We're getting what's on the menu. Bye, Nick. Have a good weekend. Hey, Ryan, send me an email and I can answer those questions for you. Yes, America's government is based on compromises. That's accurate. Hi, Laurel. I see you. Oh, wow. We did it. We did all the news. We did all the news. I'm going to tell you about a few important events that are coming up. First, I want to tell you that if you like these news stories, you can just get them delivered to your inbox every Thursday and Saturday. You want to head to norml.org/subscribe. Make sure you check the weekend weed read box as well, so you always get the Saturday issue. Sometimes news happens between Thursday and Saturday, so we'll put anything new in the Saturday edition as well. On Thursdays, NORML News of the Week delivers around 4:20 Eastern, because we've got jokes. And on Saturday, it delivers about 9:15 Eastern. Great way to start your weekend, if I do say so myself. So make sure you subscribe. If you have not yet gotten your 2024 NORML card, member card, we're getting down to the wire, friends. This is going to be available only for people who donate to join through the end of the month. November 1st, we'll switch over to the new card. So if you want to add this beauty to your collection, and I know you do, the one that says 2024 on it, make sure you join before the end of the month. If you join on November 1st, I'm going to send you a different card that says 2025. You can still get 2024 though. To become a member of NORML for 2024, just donate $42. That's it, $42. If you've already donated some money, you just have to hit $42 by November 1st. Hot Sugar asks if weed is legal in Florida, and the answer is no, it's not. Florida does have the largest medical cannabis market in the nation, with nearly 1 million patients. Not quite 1 million, but almost. It is not legal for adult use in Florida. It is decriminalized in some counties. But Amendment 3 is on the ballot for Florida voters right now. You have the opportunity to legalize the Sunshine State, so do it. Please. I love the North Carolina conversation that's happening in the comments. Okay. Coming up events. Early voting is underway in a lot of states, and if you want to find out what early voting options there are for you in your state, Ballotpedia has a great table of information for you. Sorry, Instagram, I can't share the link with you, but you can just go to ballotpedia.org and look at the early voting dates page there. Make sure you have your plan to vote, whether you're voting early or on election day. It is so important that you get out there and vote. Bye, Chris. Have fun. Before you cast your vote for someone, though, maybe, hear me out, check out NORML's Smoke the Vote voter guide so you know where they stand on cannabis policy. If this is someone who is already elected and has a history, a cannabis voting history, that information will be there. If the candidate has made public comments, like to the media or on their campaign page about cannabis, you'll find those there. If they have answered our survey, that information will be there. If they have none of this or have done nothing, then you may not see anything. But Hopefully they have. Oh, good. I love that, Samuel. Samuel says, I got the list of cannabis-friendly candidates in North Carolina. I'm ready. I love it. That's what we're here for, is to help cannabis voters get ready to smoke the vote this November. Make sure you know. Make sure you have a plan to vote. Make sure everyone you know has a plan to vote. If you talk to someone about voting, if you help them make a plan to vote, they're far more likely to go vote. And in particular, for something or someone. People are most heavily influenced by personal connection when it comes to voting. So make sure you have your plan to vote. Hot Sugar says they need to legalize it in Florida. Yes, they do, and they can. They have that option. They have the ability to do so. And also, if you want to see what the ballot measures are around the country, you can check that out in NORML Election Central. We track all of the cannabis-related ballot measures there at NORML Election Central. We will report the outcome for you there in Election Central, and you can see all of the election news. You can get information on registering to vote, checking your voter registration, links to Smoke the Vote. Everything you need is in NORML Election Central. That's at norml.org/election. And for those of you on Instagram, to get to Smoke the Vote, you go to vote.norml.org. Thanks, Chris. That's really nice. Appreciate hearing that. Let me tell you all about some events that are coming up. On Sundays, our Florida chapter, Suncoast NORML, has a podcast called The Rotation. And you can jump in the rotation with Suncoast NORML Sundays at 11 Eastern. Find them on YouTube at Suncoast NORML. How is it almost November? That happened. Arizona NORML has a chapter meeting coming up on November 7th at 7 p.m. It's at the Clarendon Hotel in Phoenix. They have full details on their Facebook. So if you're watching on Instagram, go to Arizona NORML's Facebook. It's probably on their Instagram also. Yes, it is legal in Virginia, Hot Sugar, and they do need to legalize Florida. That would be ideal. Okay, coming up in December is the NORML Key West Legal Seminar. If you are an attorney, good news. Our legal seminars are fully accredited in every state that requires CLEs for practicing attorneys. If you're not an attorney, or you just don't need the CLEs, good news, there's a discounted rate for you. Head to norml.org/Key West, register. There's may still be rooms available in the discounted room block at the Pier House. That's where this seminar is held, at the Pier House Resort and Spa. It's really a beautiful location. The people there are super nice. And then you'll also get to hang out with me and Keith and Paul in Key West, and connect with legal experts from around the country as we work our way from marijuana prohibition to cannabis freedom. Hi, Lauren. I see you. I'm going to show Lauren's comments. Everyone say hi to Lauren. She's the Deputy Director of Kentucky NORML. Lauren adds that the state of Kentucky will be awarding medical cultivation licenses on October 28th. That That's going to be an exciting Monday for everyone. I can't wait to hear how that goes, Lauren. You all have a lot of applicants in that state. Coming up, now let's pop into 2025. The 2025 Virginia Cannabis Conference will be, oops, I could probably put a little bit more info there. The 2025 Virginia Cannabis Conference will be January 24th, 25th, and 26th in Richmond. And you can get full details. Well, that was bold. Look at me just being willy-nilly with this. You can get full details at virginiacannabisconference.com. This is a really affordable conference. You can get one-day tickets, two-day tickets, complete VIP pass to all events. On Friday night, there's a welcome reception. Saturday is a full seminar day with Expo Hall, and you get breakfast and lunch. Saturday night is the Commonwealth Green Gala, and then Sunday is the second full seminar day. Again, breakfast and lunch. And then Monday, January 27th, also in Virginia, known as the Monday after Gun Day, is Virginia NORML's Lobby Day. You can register for Virginia NORML Lobby Day on the Virginia Cannabis Conference website as well. There's a link right there. So make sure you're ready. Let's do some stuff in January in Virginia. Yay! I'm so glad Hot Sugar is coming. Oh, I just watched it freeze. That was weird. Hot Sugar, I can't wait to meet you in person. Maybe we in person, and I just don't know what your Instagram name is. But God, I'm going to see you there. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And remember, hey, if you have a NORML chapter and you have events, let me know so I can promote them here for you. Oh. Golden Ashton, I don't know anything about that, but thanks for asking. I have no idea. I have not heard anything from Texas NORML. Okay, thank you for sharing that with me, Ashton. That's what I've decided your name is. Sorry. I'm gonna look at their Facebook real quick. Last time they posted was I was like, I see a post about it, and it does not have one single bit about what the day is. It just is like, hey, here's all the times of stuff. What's the day? It was October 5th. The one I can see is October 5th, Ashton. I didn't know about that one either. Friends, this has been a total blast. I love hanging out with you all on Friday, answering your questions. If you're watching this after the fact and you have questions, you can just send us an email at normal@norml.org. If you want me specifically to read it, say, hey, JM, in the title, the subject line, or somewhere in there, like, hey, JM, or this question's for JM. We all see these, but you're welcome, Ashton. Yeah, send us your questions after the fact, and join us next time live so we can answer your questions. I was going to say in person, but you know what I mean, live. Oh, Samuel, you are very kind. I love when you're here. Okay, Ashton. So listen, Ashton, here's the thing. I gotta get my fingers around this. This is the 2024 member card, and these we typically flip over the member card on November 1st. Is when if you donate from November 1st on, then you're typically going to get the next year's card, since it takes a few weeks for it to mail, and we have to pick some date. So I picked November 1st. So if you join before November 1st, you're going to get this 2024 card. If you join after November 1st, you're going to get the 2025 card. If you have any concerns or more questions about that, you can email me directly at membership@normal.org, and I will help you out. No. Please don't. Please don't send weed to Normal. If you are in a legal state that permits such, and you would like to give something to someone who is on staff at Normal, there are not a lot of us. You can make those adult choices, but no, thank you. Ashton, this $42 annually, $42 a year. So if I'm trying to make it not be reflective on the card. And we count, I count. So it tells us, like, if you donate monthly, let's say you donate $10 a month, after you hit $42, then your card's going to mail out. I love how I talk about it like it's some sophisticated process. It's pretty manual, but yeah, it's $42 a year. Thank you, Sativa. Your puns are delightful. Yeah, I can give you a link, as a matter of fact. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Thanks for asking. Okay, Sativa, your jokes are killing me this week. Listen, I'm going to show your comment because it's funny, but also no. Yeah, no. Okay, so Sativa Girl's got jokes and says, will Normal staff get unemployment benefits after Kamala legalizes pot? Here's the thing. Even when marijuana is just as legal as alcohol or tobacco, right? Even when it's removed from the Federal Controlled Substances Act, and states are free to set their own policies without threat of federal interference, even when every state has legalized marijuana across the US and territory, right, for medical and adult use, consumers still deserve representation. And there is only one entity that represents consumers and solely consumers, and that's Normal. And that's what we've done since 1970. Well over half a decade, Normal has been representing the interests of responsible cannabis consumers, and we are going to continue to do that. I'm sure you've all heard me say, like, education's legal, corn's legal, and we see bills for both of those things every single year. Cannabis consumers deserve the same representation in public policy debate. They deserve not to be treated like second-class citizens. Even in states where marijuana is fully legal for adult use, you can still lose your kids, your job, your housing options, your education opportunities, even some healthcare, because of your lawful and responsible use of cannabis. All these terrible things can still happen to you in many states. Legalization in and of itself does not dig up all the roots of prohibition and yank them out. They still exist in code, and someone's got to go in and do the unsexy work of fixing all of that, and that's when we do that. So we're going to be here for you as long as you all let us. Wow, a lot of people just joined on Instagram, and I'm sorry, because we're going to go. Hot Sugar, I see you say, are we going to have the 2025? Do you mean the card? Do you mean this card? Will I have it? As soon as I print them and have them sent to my office, I will. Not gonna watch that. But Sativa, you watch that and let me know. I can't watch that. But you watch it and let me know how it goes. You watch it and let me know. Are you saying the link doesn't work? Let me check it and make sure it works real quick. It's weird. That was really funny. I hope that Ashton, did the membership link work for you? It's working for me now. Hi, Yvonne. Um, Yvonne, can you tell me more specifically, like, are you in a state and you're asking about like a medical cannabis certification? Is that I think that's what you're asking about. Let me know. I'll wait for a second, see if you want to tell me that answer. I'm going to answer it that way anyhow. So let's say you're in a state where cannabis is, you're in Canada. Perfect. Well, I'm not in Canada, so I'm not going to pretend to know the laws of Canada, but NORML Canada can definitely best advise you on this. They're a great chapter. Let me see if I can find their website real quick. Real quick is the wrong answer. But you can definitely find them on Facebook. There it is. There it is. Their website. I got it. I'm doing so well today. Yvonne, you can go check out Canada's information at normal-canada.org. I just dropped it in the chat, so I can see you're watching on Facebook, so you should see that below your question in the chat now. I can say it really depends. It depends entirely. Like, my answer for that question about the US, definitely email them and ask them what they think. And then you can tell them like some specifics, like I'm a parent or whatever. In the US, those are typically the things that are going to matter. For example, I'll use Virginia as an example. In Virginia, medical cannabis certifications are treated as health records, so they are not available for public view. But if you were to get into some sort of legal dispute and your health records were subpoenaed, then it could be disclosed. So you're a grandma. Well, in some jurisdictions, you don't pay taxes or you pay less taxes if you're a medical patient. You may also have access to different types of products as a medical patient. So it really varies. But NORML Canada is going to answer that question for you. Oh, Samuel, he better put down like the puppy pads before he gets in there too. Hello, Brady. Thanks for joining us. For 5 seconds before I leave, we had a question about Canada that I had to look up. So you're welcome. I guess I can end that one. That one's done. Virginia only let us stream for an hour today, whatever that was. Ooh, Christopher, that's what I just said. Brady, you got to put down the puppy pads. Thank you. You made it just in time. Just in time with your quintessential burning question, Brady. And that is how we will, in fact, close out the show. One final burning question before I sign off here. We have 420 viewers at the moment. That's entertaining. Brady asks, Jam, what's your favorite type of cannabis? And Melissa's right there with the answer. Legal cannabis, of course. That's I work at NORML. My favorite type of cannabis is in fact legal cannabis. That's what we do. We legalize it. Friends, this has been a blast. I love spending Friday afternoons with you all answering your burning questions. Hit that like, follow, or subscribe button wherever you're watching so you never miss when we go live. I try to do this every Friday. Make sure you have your plan to vote. Make sure you are an informed cannabis voter. If you have questions, head to vote.normal.org and check out Smoke the Vote so you know where the candidates stand. Oh, God, getting in under the wire here, Ashton, with one more question. What do I think about THCA? Here's what I think about THCA. THCA is tetrahydrocannabinolic acid. That is how THC is present naturally in the plant, and it is present as an acid. So is CBD is present as an acid. Anyhow, THC is present as an acid in the plant. It has to be decarboxylated in order to knock that A off and turn into standard delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol. But I think that you're asking more specifically about products or flower labeled THCA. That's called weed. That's weed. There's this idea out there that because federal law specifically says delta-9 THC by dry weight, that doesn't apply to THC in its acid form. So like, have fun trying to skirt those laws and invent those loopholes, kids, but THCA is weed. If we're talking about flower, that's weed. If you go to a state licensed dispensary and you are looking at flower, that's THCA until you heat it up. I know. I want that to be my new answer, Brady. I don't think about THCA. It's not fake. It's weed. It's not a fake. There's nothing fake about it. It's weed. It's just someone is like, oh, I'm going to call it THCA. I mean, that's what it's, when it's in the flower, that's what it is. It's THCA. But also states are waking up to this entirely naive law that Mitch McConnell was responsible for, where it says delta-9 THC by dry weight. Like, either whoever wrote that for you, Mitch, knew exactly what they were trying to do and wanted this loophole to exist, or had no idea what they were doing and is really bad at writing cannabis policy. Either way, states are catching up. Virginia, for example, uses total THC. So you can't sell that in Virginia if it's, is it legal and can I get away with it are two different things, but it's not legal to sell that in Virginia, for example, if the total THC is over the permissible limit. So yeah, I would not. Also, you don't know what's in that. Like, that's you said you saw it, someone showed you paperwork. It doesn't mean anything. It literally means nothing. If that product is not regulated, if it is not tested by a licensed laboratory, independent third-party analytical laboratory with actual scientists, if it's not, then this doesn't mean anything. I love your questions, Ashton. Correct, Melissa. In Virginia, that can be the case. Yes. They're supposed to register now if you sell those products in Virginia. I don't want to see your paperwork, Bratty. All right, this is we're done. It's too long. Yes, supposed to. All right, friends, this has been great. Hey, hit that like, follow, or subscribe button so you never miss when Normal goes live. I try to do this every Friday, and I would love to see you right back here at next week. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend, and as always, I'll see you back here next time. Bye-bye.